views and opinions expressed in the preceding program were solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily reflect the views of Real TV, its affiliates, or sponsors.
Hello everyone, good day and welcome to the show Unfiltered Youth. Today I'm your host, none other than Quincy Parks, and I'm happy to be here to unpack with a very diverse panel of young persons as we go through the topics affecting young people on a daily basis, whether it be in schools, in the community, in society. This show brings a youth perspective and informs national policy. So to my very left is none other than Kezia Glasgow, followed by the ever so famous Abigail Williams. To my right, Akeem Francis, and to the end we have Jada Coward. So thank you all for being here, thank you all for showing up, thank you all for representing the youth. Welcome to the show, Unfiltered Youth. So today we want to look at the topic of use and trafficking of drugs in secondary schools. As we may or may not know, the issue of drug use and drug trafficking has been escalating continuously over the years. The statistics are clear that over the years we have had increased incidences of drugs being either trafficked in schools or used in schools. And when we say drugs, we see an increase in terms of variety of drugs being trafficked and used in schools. So I want us to delve deep into the issue of use of drugs in schools by first, let's talk about whether or not is it really a problem? What are your thoughts?
I would say that it is a problem due to it going from being the older kids doing it to the younger kids being influenced, and so that off-trails their high school education from the very beginning.
Right, so it's moving from just at the secondary school level now into it's infiltrating the primary school.
It's infiltrating the primary school level.
Well, I mean, it starts from home and then into the school, so you gotta start from home too.
Good.
Especially parents, the parents have a little courtesy into their children.
Yes, I think it has a big impact on the health and academics in school.
Right, so when we say, so we establish that it is a problem, we acknowledge that it is a problem. We also often grapple with the fact that most times we have a view that administration, teachers, the school tend to attempt to cover the issue. Do you think that that is actually, that is really the position, or is it that teachers and administrators are blamed for what they are really not knowledgeable about?
I mean, some are knowledgeable, but I wouldn't blame them because that isn't really the role and responsibility, because their job is to teach, and the children supposed to come to school to learn, but they get influenced to other different things.
But is it being covered up by administration? Are you of the view?
Maybe in certain schools, but not all.
Yeah, not all, because it has schools that some don't really care because teachers just come in to do the job, and teachers are going and put themselves into that and pick up on that to do anything.
Because it can escalate to something.
I would say it tends to be covered because when teachers try to intervene, that situation tends to escalate and that causes fights and threats and a whole different level of stuff that takes the teacher away from getting to teach the students.
Right. So they take a kind of hands-off approach per se and look to rules. So I'm not here to deal with drug abuse in school or use of drugs in school. I'm really here to educate and teach, to deliver a curriculum, and that is where my focus is at, correct? You would agree with that?
Yes.
So would we say that the use of drugs, it's not only, Abigail went on to talk earlier about the fact that, or is it Kezia? Kezia spoke about the fact that it is moving from the secondary school and it is getting into the primary school system. Now, while we acknowledge that that is a serious problem, would we say that drug use in secondary school is like a staging ground? Is it that the school is being used as a staging ground for gang culture, for sale, for infiltration by gangs and that type of thing? Would we go so far as to say that?
Yes, because, well, you see, some, when they start that type of lifestyle, they tend to drop out of school and then move into the streets with it or in the community.
Yeah, I would agree with Abigail, because if it starts something young and nobody wouldn't really talk about it, and nobody wouldn't try to help you or talk to you about it, you will keep on doing it, and then you will like...
It will lead to something much
it will
more.
lead to something or something.
And sometimes parents, like, they have work and stuff, so like they go to work till 6 o'clock in the morning, till 9 o'clock in the night. All their free time, children have, so they're doing whatever they feel like doing.
Unsupervised.
I would say yes, the school is being used like that because let's look at it when you start high school. The high school is already segregated from the lower forms to the higher
Right,
forms.
so you have clusters.
So you have already
Form 1 is
clusters
mingle with
with the
Form
form
5
5s.
is the
It
different
doesn't
clusters.
mix.
Nice.
So the form 1's way of getting to mingle with the form 5s is the jobs, because they know the form 5s do it and the form 5s are sell. Some may sell it. So when they get that form 1 to sell it and they infiltrate the form 1s now, the form 1s feel like, right, they reach the in the group.
Right. So you really have some infiltration taking place. And with that infiltration, you have a spread, easier access to, so you have the clustering, the grouping, the gang culture coming on stream, yes?
Yes.
You would agree with that? So the gang culture is now finding a breeding ground and moving from one place to the next and strengthening. So you start recruitment into gangs because, as you rightfully say, in order for the Form 1 to be welcome, then you have to, you gotta get into the gang, you have to, you have to become, so you have to start a gang up, cluster up, follow, take instructions from the seniors in the school and that type of thing, so it's really a breeding ground for that type of culture. Would you agree with that? Or?
Yes, I would agree with
There's
that.
called the younger ones, the grammar boys, quote.
Oh,
Because
so,
it has something called stitches, it gets stitches or something still. Right, because if I'm a good student at school, and I go and I see that and I look to tell some adults, them are going to find me to look to beat me up after school, it will escalate, and I will get myself in trouble. So you have to get involved to feel like you is there.
so therefore, we're talking now about the issue of peer pressure.
Yes.
Peer pressure is a real thing now in the system, because if it is that you are being pressured to get involved and it's coming from, so that's the ideal, that's really peer pressure in
I would say yes, it's peer pressure, because some students, they really don't feel safe when they have witnessed Form 5s doing something they're not supposed to do. They don't feel safe knowing that knowledge, because some Form 5s, just knowing that you know, they will want to say, okay, we'll have to put you in a place then. Because you is a danger to what we're doing, so we have to either recruit you, or we'll have to scare you,
or silence you.
Yes.
Or silence you. While we are on the topic of peer pressure and recruitment and gang culture in the schools, let's talk about how the type of drugs, because before it would have been, many years ago, it would have been a cigarette. It probably would have been some marijuana. You would have had some incidences of alcohol abuse in schools, but now you are hearing about a wider range of recreational drugs. You're hearing about Molly, and you're hearing about pills, and all sorts of things. So let's talk about that.
I would say it's more sale of those items in school, like Zessa drugs. It has a very wide market for Zessa drugs in this school, especially during school events where you might have bazaars or school parties or sales in the schools. They'll take the chaos that's going on in the school, take advantage of that,
the chaos,
getting the stuff into the school and selling it to the students.
So it's actually moving, it's really moving away. The fact is that it's moving away from just the traditional marijuana and the alcohol and vape. Vape has become another thing that is beating administrations, and we're seeing more zesta drugs. What about in your realm, in your area, in your space? What are some of the drugs being looked at or utilized in schools?
I find like the most common thing is you see vape. That's the most common thing because you can get it all over, but weed and thing, like you have to go specific place to get that. But vape, like all over, and you don't know what they could be putting in that to be getting sick or and children is going to buy that and they're selling it over for more money, so they're making a profit with it.
Yeah, I could
Okay, so remember when you see the light, when she finished make a point to just say, all right guys, well, we have to go and pay some bills, and when we come back, we have lots more right there.
Okay, good.
All right?
Okay.
So
I feel like she's going. I hear you the light.
yeah, go see the light.
Yeah.
All right? So, give us the outro to the break. So,
Ready?
yeah.
Okay guys, let's pay some bills and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Zalisa Budu Singh Rupani, and I'm inviting you to join me for Conversations with Zalisa right here on Real TV. It's not just another talk show, it's a space for real stories, real insight, and real impact. We cover it all: health, law, parenting, relationships, drug and substance abuse, mental health, social issues, and so much more, with expert guests who help bring clarity to life's most important questions. So whether you're looking to be informed, empowered, or simply inspired, this show is for you. Weekdays at 10 a.m. with repeats on Real TV.
Real TV proudly presents the 2026 Mother's Day Extravaganza. Join us on May 8th at 10 a.m. for a special edition of Conversations with Zalisa. We'll have amazing gifts, sweet treats, and unforgettable moments. Let's celebrate the love, strength, and beauty of motherhood. Only on Real TV. Planning a concert, conference, wedding, or cultural celebration? Let Real TV broadcast your event to the world. From live streaming and on-air coverage to global reach across TV and online platforms, we make sure your big moments are seen and heard everywhere. We offer professional production, worldwide exposure, and an unforgettable impact. Don't just host your event. Let us share it with the world. Contact Real TV today, where your story becomes everyone's experience.
Call us today at 2926470 or WhatsApp us at 3847142. You can also send an email to realtv.corporate@gmail.com.
The views and opinions expressed in the preceding program were solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily reflect the views of Real TV, its affiliates, or sponsors.
Welcome back to the show, Unfiltered Youth. I'm still here with my very diverse panel of young persons, and we are hoping to bring youth perspective and inform national policy. Yeah? A youth perspective that would inform national policy. Before we went to the break, we were talking about the drugs, the variety of drugs that are now infiltrating the schools. And I want us to go a bit further into that discussion before we move into other areas of the issue of drugs and sale of drugs in schools. So when we talk about drugs and the wider variety of drugs coming into the school system, we can talk about a number of things. We talk about, in terms of variety, what are some of the varieties we see now? We established that we now see in vape, we see in molly, we see in pills, we've seen ecstasy, we've seen a whole range of drugs coming into the school. What we also are hearing is that these drugs are, they're manipulating the use, how they actually utilize these drugs in schools to be able to be successful in carrying out the use of that drug, in particular in school. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I would say they're using the drugs as a way to establish herself in the school, getting their name known. Okay, she's known for like, right, she always have it. If you want anything, you go by this person. If you want to get it into the school, you ask this person to bring it in for you. It's a way to, it's sort of, the school has a hierarchy, right? It's not a Form 5, nobody really pays attention to you. But if it is a Form 1 or Form 2, and you're known for like, this person could get anything into the school for you, then you start to get recognition, and that recognition begins to light you up. So then the Form 5 now takes interest in you and they rope you in.
But sometimes you have to blame the storekeeper on them because like, the storekeepers.
Storekeepers?
Yeah. Because like,
no, go ahead. When you buy
tell us what you say storekeepers.
like, I mean like, who work in there?
Also staff of the school.
Yeah.
Workers of the company.
No, the workers of the workers who does work in groceries and them.
Groceries. Okay.
Yes.
Now we talk.
Yeah, but something I don't know also talk about, like somebody who's 18, the ones who are underage will give the person who is 18 or about to buy for them, and that's how they will get it.
Yeah, but sometimes like they don't have ID card or something, and sometimes they look over the age.
So therefore we're now talking about irresponsibility by adults. It's the adults we are saying that are encouraging or perpetrating that type of use of drugs into young, because young people can't randomly get drugs. You can't just walk.
Easier access.
Correct. So making accessibility to drugs easier for those who want to carry out the use of drugs in school.
Yeah, because I know I'm too young to go and be buying drugs in any type of grocery store or anything, so I will let this older person go and he will buy for me.
But it has some students that doesn't look their age, so we can see a 16 or 17-year-old and that person is like 18, 19 because of facial features and everything like that.
I saw it with my own eyes. I have a 13-year-old. He is taller than me, taller than my sparks, right? He went and buy a vape already in a store and like they didn't tell him nothing because he looked like an older person.
He looks like an adult.
Some students do take advantage of little corner stores like the little Chinese stores.
Yeah, where they don't consider and I'm not here to say the little Chinese stores, but stores in general, to me as a business person, most business persons or most store owners, you plying your trade, you're doing your sale. So there are a lot of those store owners who would actually stand up and stand out and say, no, you are not supposed to be here, we are not going to be correct. Or let's see the ID, that type of thing. But there are those who encourage and allow and create that type of environment for young people to walk in and purchase drugs, or purchase vape and cigarettes and that type of thing.
Yes.
But something that is not really talked about also is that the pushers in school are getting it from adults in the community, so they are selling it for them.
Right, and that is the interesting part. That is one of the very interesting parts of this conversation that I want us to dive into and explore the how, because we're talking about drugs moving from the outside into the school. I want us to try and understand, or let us try to explain to the national viewing public how these drugs move from the pushers in the community to inside the schools, because if my memory serves me right, we have schools are fortified with fences, they have security checkpoints, you have security at the entrance, you have security room in the schools, you have guidance officers, you have counselors, you have teachers, you have a host of auxiliary or staff to support the school system. And then, most recently, you had the introduction of police officers in schools. So, I really want us to explain or to divulge on how drugs still finds its way into the school system. How?
I would say that the rule of searching a student on the way into the compound isn't upheld. If you come before, let's say you come into school before 7:30, they will not search you. And if you come into school after 9 o'clock, they will not search you. And for girls, they don't search girls properly because they don't have the appropriate staff to search girls. So the male security guards will just let them into the school. And then again, there's people who have practice in school, so they come into the school 4 in the evening. So they take that time to hide stuff into the school, so then when another student comes, it's already waiting for them.
Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we will continue our discussion.
I am Zalisa Budusing Rupani, inviting you to join me for the rebirth of Apne Sitare, Our Stars, a vibrant and spectacular show celebrating the incredible local talents of the sons and daughters of Trinidad and Tobago. Experience the beauty of our culture through singing, dancing, and musical performances as we keep the arts alive and shining bright. Tune in right here on Real TV every Sunday from 1 p.m. for Apne Sitare, Our Stars. See you there.
Macon Construction Company Limited. Save big whilst building stronger. We build with our Macon innovative building systems, which provides high wind speed, earthquake, sea blast and fire resistance, is thermally and acoustically insulated, provides improved construction timelines and cost savings. We provide construction services from design to finish and everything in between. Macon Construction Company Limited. Building green today with tomorrow's technology. Contact or visit us today.
Ladies and gentlemen, young people, senior citizens, it is my pleasure and privilege to invite you to look at the program Inspired on Real TV at 2 p.m. every Wednesday afternoon. Inspired is designed to lift your spirits, to help you overcome depression and failure so you could be an outstanding, extraordinary success. We have special experts every Wednesday who will inspire you to do better, to be your best self. So may God bless you. And remember, every Wednesday at 2 p.m., please look out for the program Inspire.
When security matters most, choose Catch Security Services Limited. We are proudly approved by the Ministry of Homeland Security. We protect your home, business, community, and much more. Our services include professional baton and armed officers, specialized K-9 units, mobile patrols, secure cash pickups, secure transport, and pepper spray applications and supply coming soon. Don't wait. Secure your assets now. Contact Catch Security today. Call 622-6601, email info@cssl-tt.com, or visit our office at 30-32 Saddle Road, Maraval.
The views and opinions expressed in the preceding program were solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily reflect the views of Real TV, its affiliates, or sponsors.
Welcome back to the show, Unfiltered Youth. I am still here with my very dynamic panel of young persons, and we have been discussing the issue of use and the sale of drugs in schools and if I tell you it has been such a discussion. Before we went to the break, we were talking about the issue of how the drugs actually get into the schools, because we established, as we established before the break, we have security at the gates, we have auxiliary staff in the school that are tasked with managing student behavior, student culture, etc., etc. And then we have recently had an increase of protection or extra layer of security in schools in the name of, or in the person or personalities of police officers in schools. So how do we still have drugs coming into our secondary schools?
Because I saw with my own eyes that children pushing it in the hair, in the shoes. Sometimes they will cut pieces in the shoes, and if you have a little hole, they will stick it in there. Right? Sometimes girls will put it in their clothing. Right? That's what I saw with my own eyes. And police officers or teachers not searching there, so they're just getting away with everything.
So they understand how to beat the system. They understand the parameters of searching by those in authority, by the security forces in the school, and they come up with clever ways. It's like the prison system. They understand what's happening, so they decide, okay, we'll go around the system and we'll decide how we're going to do this or that. So they are coming up with clever ways to beat the system, and that is what you're seeing happening.
One way, well, I would say, the drugs will still be getting into the school is from afar. When students are coming into school and see other children being checked, they will take the drugs and put it in the shoes or the pants or something that they know that some way the deans or the police officers wouldn't be looking.
Yeah, so I think that in school we need proper search. Yes, they are searching, but not effectively or efficiently, I would say, because the males will more get checked than the females, because our females, we have private parts or whatever. So the males, sometimes they will meet. Yes, but we have more areas to cover.
Search. Search protocol. Correct. Search protocol. They wouldn't go into searching. Okay.
Yes, so sometimes they will meet somebody outside of the school. They will agree. Sometimes they will agree on a meeting point, and the males will give the females the contrabands or whatever. They will hide it in the clothes, and they will come to school and nothing happens, and then after they will give it back. And so the males will continue with the same.
Right, so when it gets past security at the checkpoint, so they beat security at the checkpoint, we now have police officers, at least two in each, well, in most quote-unquote at-risk or those high-risk schools. What happens? Because they don't stay in the underclothing or in the
washroom.
So they have
in the pockets.
Right. So they have their distribution location.
Some hidden parts in the school that probably teachers or the police officers don't leave.
And they also take advantage of the piping system in the classrooms, because some classrooms will have exposed PVC, so they will pull all the PVCs and hide it into the PVC or hide it behind the whiteboards and stuff in the school.
On top of it, like a door, it just have a piece on top of the door, right? They will chuck it in there, right?
I've seen people modify the whiteboards, like take a knife and hollow the piece of wood in the whiteboard to conceal the drugs.
So, but the thing is, right, so we understand, and if these students understand that it is being trafficked into the school and how it's being trafficked into the schools, why then aren't we, as administration and security, why aren't we looking at alternative ways of doing their searches or conducting searches? Why aren't we looking at areas of how better can we effect a search, to shut down?
Teachers know that that's happening, but like they will not get involved because it have consequences behind it, because
it will lead to something way much worse, especially we keep it positive. I'm not saying it's in a bad way, but in a good way in a sense, because I don't think we wanted to escalate, and these children these days like to trend. Everything is a trend. And then it has some parents that would agree with the children and come into the school compound and get on the same way that the child will get.
So teachers have that kind of hands-off approach.
And it's not really their job and all.
I came here to teach, I came here to deliver a curriculum, and I'm not going to allow myself to get into areas that will put my family at risk or my life at risk.
Some teachers will be trying, but some will just say, I wish one had that fun.
Because once a teacher does stand their ground and decide this is not going to happen in their class, that student or students will forever be a problem child in their class. They will distract their class, they will make noise, disrupt that class for every class that teacher has there.
Right, so I want us to switch gears a little bit and talk about the why. Why do we think young people or students, because we're talking about students in the system who are being influenced by adults, they're trafficking drugs into the school system. Why do we think this is happening, and why do we think that we're seeing such a dramatic increase in the number of persons and the number of drug types getting into the school system? What do we think is responsible for that? Is it that we have a serious issue where families and the home is concerned? Is it that it's total chaos or dysfunctional homes causing this dramatic increase? Or is it socioeconomics? Is it what exactly is driving this push towards young people being attracted to this type of behavior?
I wouldn't say that all homes are dysfunctional, because some of them are functional. It's just the child just own way. Sometimes it leads to that because of the persons you surround yourself with in the community, as you say, peer pressure. So you could have a functioning home. Some parents may not be aware of what their children are doing. They might hear it from the outside, from one persons they know, but you know, some mothers, they wouldn't say, nah, my child wouldn't do so. So you know,
I wouldn't really say it's grounded in the community, because in my community, the age that they get exposed keeps getting younger and younger. And when they do get exposed, they want to have that freedom to do it anyway. So then they'll start to carry it with them into the schools.
So it starts from the community.
It starts from the
and support others.
But would you say, because even though we are saying that it starts from the community, would you say that it is it poverty? Is it poverty that is causing that?
Some trying to say that the reason they're doing that and they're smoking this and they're smoking that because problems at home, parents are sitting down and talking to the child, and if they're doing that, like they're just having peer pressure, right? And that will just ease the stress. So like they will go and smoke that and come back home and feel like my stress gone.
Okay, let's take a break, let's pay some bills, and when we come back, we will continue this very important discussion.
Let's get straight to the point. I am Dale Edwards, Dale the Voice, and we're going to get straight to the point right here on Real TV. Join me Monday to Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. when we talk the hard truth. We're not beating around the bush. We're getting straight to the point, dealing with real issues, social, politics, and much more. Monday to Friday, the only place to be is right here on Real TV.
Are you looking for the right space for your business? Fred's Plaza has the space you need. We offer professional rental spaces designed for growing businesses. Conveniently located in San Juan on the Eastern Main Road, opposite the PTSC terminal and between Royal Castle and Mario's. Easy access, high visibility. For inquiries, call or WhatsApp 868-384-7142 today, or visit Level 3 Fred's Plaza for details.
Broadcast your yagnas, weddings, and Hindu celebrations live on Real TV. Share your special moments with us. Share your devotion with the nation. Call us at 373-8946 or email realtv.corporate@gmail.com. to host your celebration today.
The views and opinions expressed in the preceding program were solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily reflect the views of Real TV, its affiliates, or sponsors.
Welcome back to the show, Unfiltered Youth. I'm still here with my very dynamic panel of young persons, and we are having such a wonderful, in-depth discussion on the issue of use and sale of drugs in schools, in our school system. So before we went to the break, we were talking about what do we think is responsible for young persons getting attracted to the life of use of drugs and trafficking of drugs into the school system?
I would say it doesn't always have to be stress at home. It could be somebody trying to look cool or something. And the
Curiosity.
Huh?
Curiosity.
Yeah. And the next one is like, I don't know.
And they see the brother doing it or the sister doing it, and why must I try?
Yeah.
They will try.
Or the parents, because
I would say sometimes that curiosity leads to addiction. And then there's no other way for them to feel relaxed, so they always do it, and then they can't not do it, so they have to do it while in school, otherwise they'll start to act out and get violent.
I just think, right, sometimes I just sit down and think, I see people smoking weed and all kind of thing, right? And while they're smoking it, they're coughing. So why smoke it? I just wonder.
You wonder, right? Why you engage in it, and it's not good for your health. It causes so many different long-term problems, health issues. Right, so now that we have explored the topic in the sense of looking at how it gets into the school, why, where, let's talk a little bit about some solutions or some recommendations. How do we fix the problem? What do you think, as a young person, what do you think is needed to bring some resolve, to bring, and if not to end it, but to reduce that prevalence of drugs getting into the school system, whether it be starting from the home, whether it be fortifying the security systems at school, whether it be doing more peer counseling, whether it be doing more sessions with young persons who we know are drug users and drug addicts in the school system. So whether it is be getting that help, that whatever form of counseling that person may need, whatever form of assistance that person will need to get them to that place that we want them. What do we think is really needed to bring some relief to the situation that we're facing with schools?
Well, one solution is that before you take something that is a drug, just look on the side effects on that specific drug that you will take, so you will know.
So you're thinking that we should do some more peer education, or we should do some more education on drugs and the use of drugs and the effects that it has.
It's not really talked about in school. Yes, they talk about peer pressure and other things, but not really drug use and the use of it.
So we need to do some prevention and awareness sessions and that type of thing.
Yes, and I think that, what is it, counseling or something like that?
Counseling, yes.
I don't think that would be a good approach, because not all of, some of the young people will feel comfortable talking to somebody about their situation or whatever like that. So it will start from home, but I think you all should involve the community police in whatever area it is, to talk to the parents first and let them talk about solutions and see how it goes forward.
Sometimes parents will want to say, "None of my child," and beat the child, or came and gave licks or something. Parents need to sit down and talk to them, reason with them, and say, "Why do that?"
So you think it should really start at the home? You think the intervention should take place at the home? And I'm assuming that you are going down that same path, that you think that the intervention should start at the home. But when I spoke of counseling, because outside of the the ones who traffic on and off. We're talking about persons in the school system who are chronic users of drugs. We have chronic drug users in schools, and therefore they need to get some level of assistance, some level of support, some support systems in school to get them the assistance, the help that they need. So therefore that's where my recommendation of counseling came in.
I would say that although yes, it should start at home, in school the rules should be upheld stricter. Because if I know that if I get up early and come to school before 7:30, I could get away with bringing items into the school, or I just decide I'll come to school late. And when I come to school, it's like, okay, just go in, you don't have to sign, you don't have to search, and that I know that if I'm on the J block, I'm okay, they search the J block at a less frequently than they search the B block. I know that I can hide it here and hide it there. The school needs to be run, the rule needs to be held more efficiently. Because if I know there's loopholes in the rules, they're going to take advantage of the loopholes.
So you are saying that we need to fortify the systems in the school to ensure that we put a dent, or we put an end to the prevalence of drugs.
The rules are too easily bended.
Right. So, and outside of that, what about security systems? Do you think that we need to add more security to the school?
Yes, in my opinion.
Sure.
Because to me, in a school of 100, 200, 300 plus children, 2 police officers are not enough. We need more. Even I know it's something they will need to have training or whatever, and more police officers into the service.
But not only training, yeah? Police officers are not volunteer workers. Police officers have to be paid. So you're talking about additional financial resources going to these secondary schools. So that's just something you should look at as well.
I would also think that yes, there's 2 officers in the school compound, don't have them stationed in the same place.
Oh, so you think that they should be moving around?
They should be moving around, one officer on this side and one officer on that side, because the school is a very big compound.
But you know that when I say my one is like, I could come, a police officer, I could come and talk to a child, and the child could just cuss him out. Right? The child just cuss him out, and what he could do? He can't do nothing else.
Really?
Yeah, because like,
the child will just walk off.
Yeah. And it's a threaten, it's a fight, it's everything.
So the students threaten the police officer?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the police officer doesn't know name to face the student. So after he gets threatened, all he knows is a Form 5 student. So he doesn't know which student, and that student gets away with it.
All right, so as we wind down this conversation and we try to bring an end, I want each and every one of you to tell me what change, if you had to see one policy change in your system, in your school system, what would that one change be and why? 30 seconds.
I would say in my school I would want the policy of the time to come in school to change, because that time is the biggest loophole for a student to know if they can get away with bringing stuff into the school. So I want the times and the time that they search students on a morning, I want that to change.
Come back to me, you have money spots here.
Yes, they come back to her. Akim?
I would agree with Kezia, because I can't really think of any other policy that would stop drugs from coming in.
Well, not only, now remember, we're not only talking about a policy that would stop drugs, we could also talk about a policy that protects the students, because we have to agree that the drugs in school is not only about stopping drugs, but protecting the student population.
Yeah, but I find this selection proper, like it have a room for female, it have a room for males. And like the female officers or the male officers check them properly. Like feel up the hair, part of the body, and let them check properly, because that's the main issue right now.
Alright, so this has been Unfiltered Youth, where youth voices shape and inform policy decisions. Once again, I would like to say thank you to my very diligent, hardworking views and expressions given from this panel. I really appreciate it. We appreciate it. We are happy to have you all on the show with us today. Thank you all for being a part. Thank you all for having your voices heard. And we look forward to more discussions at some point in time in the very near future.
The views and opinions expressed in the preceding program were solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily reflect the views of Real TV, its affiliates, or sponsors.